So ladies and gentlemen, the UEFA Champions League group stages finally reached its conclusion yesterday. There was so much that happened, so much drama, so many things that happened, so many incredible scenes, incredible moments, and in the end we know the teams that are in the round of 16 and those who unfortunately didn't make it on time and made it to the playoffs, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, luckily for us Barca fans, we were lucky enough to escape being in the playoffs. We will be in the round of 16. However, there were some teams that were not lucky, one of them being Real Madrid, and we all enjoyed it. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a different video, guys, because the round of 32 will be coming up soon and the draw is as soon as tomorrow. And in this video, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna give you guys an insight of what to expect in the round of 32 and basically how the seeding works and how basically the draw is likely to happen and who could potentially play who in the round of 32. So if you guys like that, make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, all of the beautiful stuff, and let's get this video started. Now ladies and gentlemen, these are the teams who are in the round of 32. The teams that are in the blue column, ladies and gentlemen, from Real Madrid all the way down to Benfica. These are the teams that have made the round of 32. These are the teams that are in the playoffs. Now, first thing, guys, before I do talk about who could potentially play who, I want you guys to have a good idea of how the seeding or basically the teams are going to be picked on, right? So that you can kind of have an insight of who is potentially going to play who. Now, firstly, guys, the playoffs is divided into two positions. Now, there is the seeded area and the unseeded area. Now, if you want to know the teams that are in the seeded area, they are the teams from Madrid all the way to Leverkusen. From 9 to 16, those are the teams that are in the seeded area. And the teams who are not unseeded are from Dortmund to Benfica. So from 17th all the way to the 24th, those teams are unseeded. Now, what that means is that the teams who are over here from 9 to 16th, these are the teams that are going to get the first leg at home. So they're going to get the first game in their home stadium. So they are the seeded teams and that's where they're going to be. The teams that are in the unseeded area, they're going to be playing the first game away from home, guys. So that's the first thing I do want to say. And also another important thing that you also need to know is that the teams who are in the seeded areas and the teams that are in the unseeded areas cannot play each other. So the teams who are in the seeded areas are not going to play each other. So we're not going to see Madrid take on Inter or PSG or potential Atlético or Leverkusen or any of those teams. They have avoided those teams. They will not be playing those teams in the round of 32. And the teams like Dortmund will not be playing teams like Monaco or Bodo Glimt in the round of 32. So hopefully you guys understand that. Now, firstly, guys, as you can see, this is how the playoffs is going to look. Like I mentioned, it is tomorrow. It is on Friday, and this is how likely the teams are who could play each other in the round of 32. Now, firstly, we know Atalanta and Bayer Leverkusen are in the seeded area. So that means that both of these teams will not play each other, but they are likely to play these two teams. So, and also another important thing you guys do need to know is that teams from the same league or basically teams from the same country can play each other. So we could see a Bayer Leverkusen versus Borussia Dortmund. So there is no such thing in the round 32 as teams from the same league cannot play each other. That doesn't work, right? So Atalanta and Bayer Leverkusen cannot play each other. They are likely to play either Dortmund or Olympiacos. So those are the teams that they could potentially play in the round of 32. So Atalanta are likely to play Dortmund or Olympiacos, or Leverkusen are likely to play Dortmund or Olympiacos. And the next teams, right, and this is the interesting one now, Real Madrid, who are the first team in the seeded areas, they will not be playing Inter. So I see a lot of people are seeing these two teams ranked here. They are not going to be playing each other. Real Madrid will be likely to play either Bodo Glimt or the team they literally played yesterday who beat them, Benfica, in the round of 32. So we could see another Benfica versus Real Madrid game as soon as the playoffs, and that means that Inter will likely to play the other team that will not be playing Real Madrid. So either Bodo Glimt or Benfica, the one of them that doesn't play Madrid will be taking on Inter. And the other teams, guys, from PSG and Newcastle United. Both teams finished 11th and 12th. Both teams played each other yesterday in the final game, and it ended in a draw. The likely game is PSG are likely to play Monaco or Karabakh. So those are one of the two teams they could potentially play in the round of 32. And if one of those teams play PSG, then the other will be taking on Newcastle United. And finally, the other team, guys, in the seeded areas, Juventus and Atletico Madrid, they are the two seeded teams. They are likely to play either Club Brugge or Galatasaray. So if Juventus take on Club Brugge, then Atletico Madrid will be taking on the other team, which is either Galatasaray or Club Brugge. So that is how the playoff looks right now. That is how it's going to look. So basically right now, if you look at the draw in the round of 32, there is not really a likely opportunity to see maybe major upsets, to be honest. Right now, last season we did see a few. Atalanta losing to Club Brugge, funny enough, right? Both teams are in the playoffs. We have I'm looking at this table and I'm wondering, like, some of the teams that could potentially play each other, like the hardest games in this group. There's not really a lot of hard games, right? So a lot of the teams, luckily, who are in the seeded areas, right, are the better teams. So those teams, by the way, and I just mentioned it, the seeded area teams will not be playing each other in the round of 32. They will not be playing each other. So, and another thing is that they get home advantage. They will be starting the first game in the home stadium. So if Madrid take on Bodo Glimt or Benfica, it will be at the Bernabeu, the first game, right? And then the away game will be at the other stadium. Now, this is very interesting because we kind of have an idea of some of the teams that could potentially be playing each other in the round of 16. Now, if they are the winners of these games right here, right? Atalanta, Leverkusen versus Dortmund or Olympiacos are likely to play the team of Arsenal or Bayern Munich. Now, that doesn't mean Arsenal is going to play Bayern Munich. It means that one of Arsenal or Bayern Munich will be taking on one of these four teams who makes it out of the round of 32. So two teams are going to make it out of this round from these two teams. Now, the two teams that make it here will be taking on one of these two teams, right? So the same thing applies in the Madrid column, where Madrid or Inter, right, one of these teams, right, whoever wins in their game between Bodo Glimt, Madrid, and Inter Milan, Benfica, or Inter Milan, Bodo Glimt, or Real Madrid, Benfica, will be taking on either Sporting Lisbon or Manchester City in the round of 16. Same thing applies here as well, right? Same thing applies basically in every single area. So if you're a Barca fan like me, you're looking at this area. Newcastle United, we've already played them. Monaco, we haven't played them. Karabakh and PSG. So PSG are likely to either play Barcelona. If they make it, they're likely to either play Barcelona or Chelsea. So they're still going to have a tough game in the round of 16. And if it's Barcelona, then this is a nightmare scenario for us, right? And the same thing goes down here in the Juventus column. So Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Club Brugge, and Galatasaray. The two teams that make it out of these four games will take on either Tottenham or Liverpool. So teams who are in that group will count their lucky stars, that they count themselves lucky or maybe unlucky, depending on how it goes. But basically, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the team in one of these four columns, the two teams, right? One of the teams that plays one of these teams, the other will be playing the other team on this side. That's why you see the same teams in this area over here, right? Basically, if, let's say, Dortmund and Leverkusen are the two teams that win their games between Atalanta and Olympiacos, and Dortmund are to play Arsenal, then that means Leverkusen will be taking on Bayern Munich on this side, right? Or vice versa. We could see Bayern Munich on this side and see Arsenal on this side. And that will all be judged during the draw of the round of 16, right? We will get to know. But basically, this is how this is an idea of basically what you're gonna get, and hopefully you guys can see what I mean, because there we go. So that this is basically what I'm saying. So this is how basically it looks. So you can see on this side and on the other side, these are the teams that could potentially play each other. So hopefully that wasn't too complicated and maybe you guys can understand. But as far as like the playoffs is concerned, that's how you basically can see it, right? So once again, if Atalanta play Dortmund, then Leverkusen will be taking on Olympiacos, or if Leverkusen, Atalanta take on Olympiacos, then that means Dortmund will be taking on Leverkusen. Same thing applies in this area and on this area and on this area. So hopefully you guys got an idea of how basically the playoffs is going to work. There's not really a lot of games to look forward to, but there's definitely some drama that we could see in the round of 32. So hopefully you guys understand and get an idea of how the playoffs is going to look like in the round of 32. Let me know what you guys think. Which games would you guys like to see in the round of 32? And also guys, explaining it through the round of 16 from the teams that do qualify from the round of 32, which games would you guys potentially like to see in the round of 16? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, all the beautiful stuff. And yeah man, Fiscal Barca, peace, take care.